Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. I'm excited to be with you this morning. I got up early this morning and have had plenty of time to do my daily GPS and to just really enjoy relaxing this morning. And so just adding the gratitude call on top of that is just like the cherry on top. So thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing all that you do to this call, those of you who are on live, and also just bringing your spirit to this call. And once you've been a part of this call, I really see that everything that we gain here, the edification that happens, it can't help but radiate out. It's just been confirmed to me this last week how important and how valuable it is for us to connect with God on a daily basis. I really believe that that is something that He put in practice, when He created this earth and said, multiply and replenish. I really believe that the human beings that He intended to place on this planet, that He also intended for them to connect with Him on a daily basis. And that's something that we do here on the Gratitude Call and in your daily GPS. And just really grateful for those processes that help keep us in that really high vibration, not only for ourselves, but like I said, it just, can't help but just radiate out and for others to feel it as well. So thank you all for being here live, and also those who are here listening to the podcast. You're part of that too. You're bringing your energy, and what you gain from the call, you're able to radiate that out as well. And wow, if we have enough people that are listening to this call, then we're creating a major change in the world. For today, some people did actually mention in our rounds of gratitude that we did before we started the recording, there were several people that mentioned about progress, progression, change, those types of things, the natural process of things. And so I kind of just conglomerated that all together into the phrase natural progression, gratitude for natural progression. So that's what we're gonna focus on today. And I think that's actually what we create here in the gratitude call, is just a natural progression of things. So I feel like that's very appropriate. I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds. We're going to do a private silent meditation on gratitude for natural progression, and just write down all the thoughts that are coming to you. And then after that 90 seconds is done, we'll share and see what we get to discover today. 90 seconds, gratitude for natural progression, begin. All right. I had an experience this morning in my daily GPS that was very sacred, but I did sometimes, a lot of times I keep those sacred things to myself. This time, I really felt like it was something that I wanted to share, and I posted it on the Lord's Way to Wealth public group. And so if you're not a member of that group, I encourage you to go find that, the Lord's Way to Wealth. Maybe I'll post the link to that in the blog. And just wanted you all to experience what I did, maybe to a small degree, this morning. I had I'm going to call it a miracle. I don't really see it as a miracle now because I feel like I know, I see and I feel and I know how it happened. And when I think of a miracle, I think of like something that's unexplainable, but I actually see and can explain it now, because of Christ's atonement. And maybe I won't go into a lot of detail here because I have posted on that on that Facebook group, on that public Facebook group. But as far as the natural progression of things, I had to ask before I could receive. And I've been asking for quite some time, probably about 6 months, for something specific. And I realized today that I was already there. It's already been given to me, and I was still asking for it. And it was, I hadn't noticed that it's already been given to me. I'm just like in awe of my Heavenly Father and also of Christ and his ability to wipe our debts clean. I had been trying to do that myself, and I realize now that that Christ has the ability to do it, and all I had to do was be open to allow it. And I'm just really grateful for the natural progression of having this blind spot and asking, and then now I'm in a spirit of gratitude and saying thank you. I'm just really grateful for that new realization. Who else has something they would like to share?
I had a really cool thought as we were doing our meditation time. I could see like this hot air balloon. And when a hot air balloon goes up in the air, it kind of follows the wind pattern and it floats and it goes. And when it's on the ground, if the wind gets too strong, they have to lay the balloon down because, it's dangerous. So I found that very interesting, that once you're up in the air, if it's calm enough and you just let the balloon do its thing and going, then it's not a struggle and that doesn't have to be put down.
Beautiful.
And so as we let our thoughts and our emotions and our ideas, go in a direction that we need to, instead of fighting it, then it seems to flow a little bit better.
I love that analogy. That really does fit with what I was just sharing as well, kind of a little cumbersomely I was sharing. I love that analogy that as long as we're on the ground, when we're like tying ourselves down, the wind is like against us. It's trying to pull us up. And we have to, we actually have to take down our sails or we would be like ripped off the ground. But if we just untie ourselves and allow ourselves to be taken up and not struggle, just let the wind do its thing, let it take us on this natural progression to where we know we can, we're the highest heights that we can be, then it's easy. I love that. There's no struggle. It's so easy. Thank you. Who else?
Sure.
Hey, Melissa.
Mine was a little opposite of that. When I thought of natural progression, I thought about natural laws. And I've been working out lately. I've been lifting. And it's interesting because when I started, I couldn't lift a lot, and it was really difficult for me to, do a lot of reps and just lift anything very heavy. And as I've been doing it, the natural progression is that it's easier for me to lift the same amount. And then I've been able to even add weight, and I've been growing stronger. And I've been noticing like the physical change in my body, in my muscular, tone of my body. And I just was thinking about spiritually how, we, as we endure trials and challenges and push ourselves into growth experiences, they're hard and they're difficult. But as we go further and further, they become easier. Those things that used to be really hard, when we do it enough, it becomes easier. And we can look back on it and have that gratitude for the challenges that we've faced.
Wow, thank you. And even though that is, quite a bit different than what we were describing before about just letting go and having it be easy, this is, really stepping into the challenge until it gets easier. So still the natural progression leads us to an easier, we get stronger. The weight doesn't seem as heavy. There's, it's just easier. So thank you. Who else?
I'd like to share.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
Melissa, it's, it's kind of in alignment with what was coming to me. And because, like the spirit, it progresses differently than the physical self progresses, because the physical self progresses with resistance.
Mm.
And the spirit progresses by letting go of the resistance. And so that's the dichotomy of this life, God put us here with equal opposites and said, have fun, learn how to use force and letting go to create things in a physical way. And for us, that's the balance where we are. That's where our true self, gets to be the creator and also tap into what's already been created. And the flow part is the part that's already been created, and the resistance part is the new creation that we create through the physical world.
Wow, super powerful. Thank you. That resonates truth. There is opposition in everything. And I love that idea of just like placing us here with these concepts of resistance and balance and give and take, yin yang, all those things, and learn and have fun. I love that. Who else? Maybe get one more share before we shift over to our permission process.
I'll share.
Okay, Tammy.
I've just been thinking about a current situation that I have in my life that I have been working on bringing change with. And there's been some people that have, made different suggestions and whatnot, but I have had very specific promptings and, as to the path that I'm supposed to follow with this. And it's been really interesting as I've gone through this process of really learning to let go and only do what God instructs me to do, and just allowing the natural process of things, how much more God is able to teach me, and I'm able to learn through this process, rather than if I were to interfere and try and rush it and, do it the way that I might want to on my own. It's just been really, really amazing to see how much God has been able to teach me, and how much I have strengthened my inner self, and I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you. That's awesome. I think a lot of times we go to people and, or maybe they come to us unbidden and want to give us advice on our lives and the way that we're living our lives, or how we can be better, at something. And, whether that's like somebody that we're reaching out to for advice or whatever, but really we're the only ones that really know. We individually have that connection with God that, and asking for our inspired shortcuts every day. And it may not make sense to other people, and it may not make sense in the physical sense. But just like Phil was saying, the spirit is all about letting go. The physical is about like pushing forward and fighting against resistance. And so to the physical eye, what we're doing may not make sense. But as long as we're following those promptings, those inspired shortcuts, and obeying what we know in our heart is what God is telling us to do, we're going to be successful. And it really will be a natural progression and the easiest path. Melinda, did you have something? I saw that you unmuted.
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. So we got a new pump here and it brings water to our house, and we're really grateful for that, right? And I was just thinking about how someone was grateful for resources and just naturally that things come, like mulberry trees being planted by the birds, and how resources can just arrive and come to you. But one important thing is, the pump brings us water, but also prayer brings us these resources when we ask, like you talked about, and how important it is to have those tools that make that natural process happen.
Thank you.
Or allow it to happen, I guess. But
yeah, so there was a natural progression that actually got the pump into your house that allows now water to just be automatically there. And we do have like systems that we had to put into place, like connecting every day, like prayer, and like being in gratitude every day, and asking for your inspired shortcuts every day. Those kinds of things, the systems and the habits that we create in our lives allow a natural progression to happen. But we have to put something in place, that's going to cause that to happen. And even we have a couple of trees in our yard too that the birds have just planted. It just started growing, and that is actually a system that God put in place too: multiply and replenish. And He set up this evolution of life so that birds would eat the mulberries and then poop out the seeds in a place that was ready to receive it. And that's just all part of that natural progression. Something had to be put in place for that to actually be possible. And we have God to thank for that. Let's go ahead and shift over to our permission process. Just take a deep breath. Just feeling the gratitude for all the things that are naturally in place for us, the way that God set this earth up to multiply and replenish it, that the circle of life and the cycle of like evaporation and rain and everything that God has put in place for us on this earth. He created an earth where we could thrive, that everything is abundant. There is resources in abundance here, and it's here and available for us. And all we have to do is to just allow it into our lives, to receive it. Take another deep breath. And along with just allowing and receiving, there are some physical things that need to be put in place. Maybe it is just asking. Maybe there is something physical that needs to be done. If you are a mentor wanting people to work with you, maybe you have to put in place a course, an online course, or create a system of something, that would help people in their transformation. There has to be something for people to, for it to be a natural progression, a natural flow of abundance, that something had to be put in place to begin with. So first of all, just feeling gratitude for this natural evolution, natural progression, the gratitude that we feel for the way that this earth was set up, that everything points to that, to God and to Christ, that there is a natural progression and a natural evolution with everything. It's the way everything is set up on the earth. And then the second part is to look at, what is my part? What is the most important thing for me to put into place so that that natural progression, that natural flow of abundance can come to me, that it can be part of my life, and I can feel the ease of multiply and replenish. What is my part? And as you're becoming more clear with that physical part that you get to put into place, that becomes the vehicle then to allow water, abundance, all the resources to flow naturally to you. Also be aware of any limiting beliefs that are showing up for you about either putting that physical thing in place, like the pump or the hot air balloon, putting that in place so that you can catch the wind, so that you can receive the water. What is the limiting belief that's showing up for you about putting that physical piece in place? And as you're getting more clear with what that limiting belief is, also recognize what the cost of that limiting belief is. Examine what that has been creating in your life so far, and what it will continue creating if you allow that limiting belief to remain. And if you don't like that cost, if you're ready to change that limiting belief, you can give yourself permission to change that limiting belief by saying yes.
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 Awesome. So what are those new beliefs? Get 2 or 3 new beliefs that will take the place of that old limiting belief, that will allow you to easily and quickly and efficiently put that physical capturing mechanism in place, physical receptacle that will allow you to receive these resources that are readily available. What are the new beliefs that will really motivate you and empower you to be able to do your part so that the natural flow of multiply and replenish, that natural progression of more and better and increased, multiplied, replenished, that is part of your everyday life? What are the new beliefs that will empower you to receive all the resources and all the abundance that God has created for us? And now that you have this list of new beliefs, I invite you to use these new beliefs and envision for you. It might be a pump, it might be a hot air balloon, it might be something completely different, and that's whatever it is going to be perfect for you. Envision that you have created this physical receptacle that captures all of the resources that God has available. to us, and that you are able to use these resources to increase, to multiply and replenish your life, your land, your community, your family, your money, that everything is available to you now because this physical thing has been put in place. And allow that natural progression of you now having put that in place and are now able to capture all of the abundance that God has available to you, and what the natural progression of that is. Allow yourself to be carried forward to see what is possible now. And with that new vision of what is possible, of what the natural progression of your efforts to put that physical piece in place, just with all the blessings that are available to you because of that, bring those into your heart, into your mind, into your spirit, into your emotions. Just feel it, see it, taste it, and bring it in with those new beliefs to become part of you. That rather than focusing on the physical resistance that it takes to build the receptacle, that you focus on the end result that is possible because of the natural progression after that thing is in place. And that is what motivates you to now take action on the one most important thing. What is your inspired shortcut? What's the one most important thing that you can do to have these possibilities available? What's the first step of building that receptacle to receive all the abundance that God has available? In a moment, I'm going to open it up. We have time for maybe one or two shares. And before we do that, I just want to encourage any of you, if you feel like you need some extra support in this at all, please reach out to me. Go to askwylene.com and you can schedule a 15-minute call with me. That's a free mentoring session. And we will get to the very core, the one thing that needs to change for you to be able to receive all of the abundance that's available to you. askwylene.com. Who has something they would like to share about their experience today?
That was amazing for me. I still have some limiting beliefs to work through, but it was so helpful because as you were talking, I had ideas coming into my head of things that I could do, and how I really do have a lot of knowledge and understanding that other people don't always have, but I discount that a lot of times and think it's so easy. It's so easy to to treat your kids naturally, holistically, with plants and with vinegar, simple little things that I just think no one's going to want to buy a course like that. And I allow all of those limiting beliefs to take too much place. And so I'm so grateful for this specific time. And some of my new beliefs are: I allow God's timing and natural process. I follow God's perfect timing. I'm thriving in abundance. I am surrounded by abundance. I focus on my part and fulfill it. I receive abundance and resources. I create beautifully.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you, Tyree. I'm so glad that you know how important that is, that you share that knowledge with people. Thank you. Scott, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I realized that my limiting belief of when I put in effort to an inspired shortcut, that nothing will come from that. And the cost is that it dams my progression and creates hindering my own progression.
Mm.
So my new belief is faith in that inspired shortcut, faith that belief that comes from God will be of my benefit. So it's
Oh.
worth the time.
Yes,
to put in.
definitely. Thank you. I hope that you're planning on attending our GPS Planner Masterclass on June 25th. Do you have the link to that, right? To register?
I think so.
Okay. I'll send it to you if you don't. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
if you would.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Phil, did you have one last thought before we end our call today?
What you were saying, about, taking that step, taking that first step, but it just reminded me of a train and a locomotive. You can, like that first part, like you can stop a locomotive with a small little wedge underneath its wheel. Like you can, like it can't move. But once the momentum starts, then that thing can smash through a 6-foot barrier wall easily, and I think that, that's that limiting, that wedge is that limiting belief, that one little thing that keeps you from acting. And if you can just, like Scott said, use your faith and take the courage to make even one small adjustment. And even if you adjust that wedge just a little bit, it allows that locomotive to start moving. And you'll find that as it grows momentum, that it becomes this, this thing that automatically, begins to unfold and go somewhere new. So anyway, that was just what I wanted.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely true. It's amazing, to get started is probably the hardest thing. And once you get started, the natural progression is just, it builds momentum to the point that nothing can stop you. You're unstoppable. It's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, thank you for everything that has been shared. If you didn't get a chance to share and you have something that you'd like to, go to that Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude, and share there. We would love to continue our discussion there. And just reminder about, registering for the GPS Masterclass that I'm going to be doing on June 25th. There's links for the registration on all my platforms or all my Facebook pages and everything. So you can find it there. If you can't find it, reach out to me. And we'll look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And thank you again for all of your contributions today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.